They use a lot of honeycomb shapes. Hi, I'm a girl who loves Supergirl, and I am here to give you a review and Easter eggs of Supergirl episode 13 for the girl who has everything. Hi, I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson, your girl on Supergirl, and before we start really quick, I want to point out this awesome new 52 Supergirl figure with the really cool kryptonite. I want to thank DC Comics for sending me that for our collaboration last week. They are awesome. This show's awesome. We had an awesome time together. Let's hop right into the good on this episode of Supergirl. For the girl who has everything had a lot of really, really interesting aspects. The thing that I really enjoyed most above all else was Melissa Benoist playing Hank Henshaw, playing Kara Danvers, trying to keep her real life going as she was under the spell of the Black Mercy. She did a really excellent physical and vocal impression of a male actor that she's played against, which I think really speaks to her as a performer. Melissa Benoist does a really incredible job. She carries the show on her back, and she really got a chance to shine in this episode in the scenes that she shared in Catco. Following up on more Hank Henshaw, we had a scene in the DEO between Hank and James Olsen. And not only was it a good scene because both of those actors are great actors, but it was really incredible to be like, hey, we are watching a primetime show, a superhero show, and we have two black men leading the show, having dialogue that's incredibly important, who are deciding the fate of our main character. Great scene, great social justice moment, really, really enjoyed it. Plus, everything on Krypton, fascinating. There's a scene where Alex drops in, where she becomes part of Kara's Black Mercy hallucination, and you see that they use a lot of honeycomb shapes, and it's a really interesting way to tell us, the audience, visually, that they do things a little differently than we do it here on Earth. The design of it was really, really interesting. The lore that they were able to build in was really fascinating. I liked seeing everything on Krypton this episode. Let's roll into the Easter egg. The number one Easter egg is the title of this episode, For the Girl Who Has Everything. It is a take on an Alan Moore story for the man who has everything that deals with Superman. There is also a really, really great Justice League animated series episode that tells this same story. So we lifted some of that, the stuff that we saw with Kara and her hallucinations on Krypton, right from that classic Superman story, which was really, really cool. Second, and my personal favorite Easter egg from this episode, was Keelix. Now, in this episode, they called him, her, it, this tiny little robot Kelix, but we all know it's Keelix, so let's just agree on that. Keelix is the little helper robot that woke Kara up first thing in the morning. And the final Easter egg that I have for you is the Kryptonian language that we saw Kara when she was spinning the little ball toy that was imprinted on the side. That is actually the same Kryptonian language that was originally developed for Smallville, so nice to see them pulling it over into the Supergirl series. Time to talk about the bad in this episode of Supergirl. There's really only one thing that I have to say as far as the bad goes, and that is, I think this episode was very disparate. If it were me in charge, and it's not, I would have kept this all on Krypton. It would have all been inside Kara's Black Mercy hallucination. I would have kept the rest of the cast around because, you gotta pay them, they're gonna show up to work, but I would have cast them as her friends and neighbors and other Kryptonians so that you get to see both of her worlds melding together as she struggles to give up her version of heaven and come out of the Black Mercy spell. I think having to cut back to the stuff in the real world, the DEO, the Catco stuff, it didn't really work for me, and then with the Kryptonian invasion, it was like three different things going on. I think if they would have streamlined, focused in on each of those storylines and maybe made them separate episodes, the story would have flowed just a little bit better. Let's move on to my crazy theory of the week. All right, in this episode, we had Non dropping the hints of something called Myriad that he is implanting to wipe out humanity because we're the worst, rah, 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 rah. My theory is that Myriad is actually Brainiac, and that is who we are setting up to be the finale villain. Brainiac. I'm calling it right now. All right, let's rate this episode. As always, the scale is from 1 Kryptonian crystal to a potential 5 Kryptonian crystals, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I am going to give For the Girl Who Has Everything a solid 3, because I think there's a lot more good stuff going on than bad stuff, but I think that it could have used some better stitching together to make it a truly perfect episode. So that again is 3 Kryptonian crystals. In conclusion, for this whole series so far, I think that For the Girl Who Has Everything is a pretty good episode. It's definitely in my top 5 episodes that we have seen so far. Again, not perfect, but I really enjoyed it. Now, I want you to go to the comment section. I want you to tell me what other classic Superman stories you want Supergirl to adapt. My pick is Superman for All Seasons, because I would love a look back at Kara and Alex's childhoods growing up. We have two great actresses playing the young girls, and and we would get Helen Slater and Dean Cain for a full episode. Don't forget to go and tell me what you would like to see. If you want to support Girl on Supergirl and all of the other recap shows that we do here, please head on over to patreon.com/Jawiin. That is Jawiin. You can get some awesome perks and you can keep our Kryptonian crystals energy flowing. Go down to that little button and click subscribe. You will get all of our goodness here. We will always be connected. I have been Ashley Victoria Robinson, your girl on Supergirl. Be safe and make good choices.